We're not one of those people who's like, America is at the top of everything. We're not like that, okay? There's a lot of injustices and discrimination and a lot of things that our people have going through in this country, but that does not stop us from loving who we are as Americans and loving our country. We can love our country and still point out the bad and still appreciate the good. What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets React, and we're back with another video.
Who we got today, C?
Today we are back with another American reaction. We're super excited about this video because this video will allow us to, get into the minds of other people around the world.
Talk about it. Yep.
So we have recently, for about the last month or so, have been reacting to a lot of America is this, America's messed up, how, other countries changed my mind about America, all of those type of videos. And we have gotten, a partial response from some people who say, oh, you are participating in the bashing. And there's other people who was like, oh, you are crazy to still live there, you need to move. All of those things, right? So the reason we have been reacting to the American type videos is because we are optimistic people, right? All you see from us will be love and laughter, and we're having fun as we're learning things about other countries, as we're learning, just how messed up some of these systems are. Of course, we know a lot of the systems that we have, but it's just caused us to look at things in a greater perspective, have a greater appreciation for some things, wanting certain things from other countries, and it's just really helping us grow and learn. And we also use this as an opportunity to educate, to debunk a lot of things, and it has been great. But we would love to continue having an open mind and to continue having these conversations, because we need to have tough conversations to appreciate each other's culture.
That's the one.
Our cultures can be different and we can still appreciate and love one another. All right, we're not hateful people. We're not people who's like, America's bad. We know our country is not the greatest. We're not one of those people who's like, America is at the top of everything. We're not like that, okay? There's a lot of injustices and discrimination and a lot of things that our people have going through in this country, but that does not stop us from loving who we are as Americans and loving our country. We can love our country and still point out the bad and still appreciate the good, okay? And love your cultures as well. So, with that being said, like this video, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. We have enabled the super thanks if you would like to support the channel that way. But without further ado, we're going to get into this video. All right?
Just running, pretending. I'm sitting down while running. It's not a valid form of exercise. Oh, hello. Guess what I've been doing this week? I've been reading Twitter. It's a big mistake. Nobody should ever do that. But while I was reading Twitter, I came across this tweet. Take a look at that.
Oh, wow.
Right, and it got me thinking, why do we bash Americans? And I don't mean we as in me and everyone else. And I don't just mean this, politically. There seems to be a tendency toward bashing Americans in general. Now, before I do continue, I should reiterate that, of course, this isn't all British people bashing all Americans all the time, but there is still, nonetheless, this tendency that happens there. And you wouldn't expect a restaurant to write this about other nations or other nationals from around the world, but somehow it's fair game with Americans, and that is something that I've never understood. Of course, now I understand it even less, having...
Why is that? Like, why?
I think it's just easier to point out other people's flaws instead of realizing your own.
Yeah, but why America? I mean, speaking to...
Land of the free.
Oh, yeah.
We are the only, that actually...
Say that, land of the free.
Land of the free. We're open. We allow things to actually go on. Like, there's other countries that have so much... Like, they're so tight-knitted that you can't do certain things. Though it look like it's possible, you could do these things, but you would get more... like put in jail for something, you would get looked at. Like, for instance, we learned that other countries don't even like to really smile that much, and they take it as wrongdoing or like
They take it
just
as
weird.
you're wanting something from them.
Right. So again,
Yeah.
I just think it's easy to like point out other people's flaws that way. That's why.
You know what? You can made a different. You made a good point by saying the land of the free, because I think we're taught that song. What? Not the national anthem. What's the other song?
I was sure about to sing it
From
too.
California to the New York Islands. What's that song?
I don't know.
That song. Well, that song
not sure.
it teaches us like, oh, this is the most magical land ever.
Right.
And maybe that was the case back in the day. It was a new country, but I think with that notion of saying this is the land of the free, we're teaching our young that there's no other country that's free, and that is the misconception.
Big time. Big time.
Lived in America for 11 years and married to an American who would not take kindly to me saying such a thing. So, I just wanted to give some thought as to why we think it is fair game. In order to do so, we have to look historically at the relationship, the now apparently special relationship between Britain and America. And so, I think anti-American sentiment, if you want to call it that, among my British compatriots has existed for centuries. I mean, you could go back to the early colonization of what is now the United States. Even after that, take for example Samuel Johnson, the inventor of the original English dictionary in Britain. He was the precursor, I suppose, to Noah Webster in that sense. And he had quite a strong anti-American sentiment to him. He's the very man, in fact, that said, "I am willing to love all mankind except an American," and that's not all he said. I mean, that's not where it stopped. He also said by his own choice, this was of somebody who would move to the continent of North America, or just the United States in general. By his own choice, he has left a country where he had a vote and little property for another where he has great property but no vote. And in many ways, that's sort of in line with King George III's idea that as a political entity, America had no hope, that it would go nowhere. And of course, then it did. It became independent from the British. You could almost argue that that may have led to resentment, at least at that very time. I think if you were to talk to British people today, they may not even cite 1776 as a reason for their resentment against Americans, should they have that resentment. And that's quite an interesting point, right? So I'm not sure.
Yeah, it really is.
So is that a good point in your point of view? Is that why? I mean, because we have ran across comments in the comment section that said, "Oh, it's because y'all are a young country," and I would love to know.
I just want to hear more though, because it's interesting that you have to go down the history loophole to see what was created, how it was colonized, and all that other stuff. So
yeah.
Prejudice toward Americans today is even tied to history. In fact, to its detriment, it often ignores it. In the case of language, actually, quite often, as I've pointed out before, we ignore sort of the historical patterns behind language and how Americanisms came about from Britishisms. I talked before about the word soccer having been coined actually in England, if you want to talk about lexicon. The same is true of certain spellings of words. Let's look at aluminum. We say and write aluminium back in the UK, and you say aluminum here. Well, aluminum was previously in use in the UK and was debated back and forth between members of the science circle there as to which one we should go with. And then similarly, when we're talking about pronunciation, a lot of Americans have a tendency to drop the H on herb, whereas the British tend to keep it, but that was not always the case. We started out by dropping the H on herb because of the French tendency to do so, just as we do with the words honour and hour and things of that ilk. But we stopped doing that just because it was becoming quite a class issue. If you were doing that in the UK, you were seen as unintelligent at one point. That memo never got spread over here
Okay,
in the
hold
United
on.
States. So
Oh, no, wait.
I kind of seen that coming though.
This is funny. What?
That he was
The
going to mention,
pronunciations?
the pronunciation was going to cause like the people to kind of look at each other differently.
And I think that's true, because I remember being, I'm a writer. So I've always been a writer, always been a person who just loved literacy, period. I remember being in first grade and I had a sub, and she had a British accent, and she said D as THE, and I corrected her. I said, no, it is the. So just that, and how some people say vase and vase, and the northern states of the United States speak completely different from the southern states. And it's like, even with our slang, how I'll say something in the video like that little thing over there, and some of our UK supporters and all of y'all be like, it's not that little thing, but that's just the way I speak.
But that's just like in Australia though, like they have so many crazy slangs that we hear we don't know how to interpret just yet until we get to the end of the conversation.
Right, and then it makes sense. Like the lollipop lady.
The lollipop lady. We said that the other day. But I just think it's interesting for me personally to just hear the different way people say certain languages or say certain words or phrases, like how you was expressing the and the. Like they may have said it in a way that just, it's just expressive in one narrative, and we may say it in a way that's expressive in another, but for me, I just like it. I've never judged a person based off how they pronounce their certain letters and words. I just find it interesting.
Yeah, but of course we're judged.
Yeah, of course.
and not just by, people in other countries. And I don't even like saying the word foreigners. I don't like saying it at all.
I don't think they even slipped out of mouth
in other countries.
On this channel, ever.
Really. Ever. Always respectful. But wait. Okay, one more point. So, and I'm pretty sure he may speak on this a little bit, but the way that we spell things, like for instance, favor, I believe they use the U in front of the R, and we just say favor without the U. So we'll just say FAVOR. Like just different things like that. It just reminds me, and of course I know a lot of you all don't have the same religious views as us, and we don't even, discuss that on our channels, but it reminds me of the Babel languages, when God just confused everybody's languages, and
that's what I was just thinking about.
They couldn't get nothing accomplished, and they had to work harder to get everything accomplished. Could you imagine one day a world where everybody got along?
Everyone spoke the same tongue. Everybody
appreciated everybody. Like, could you imagine? Being the optimistic person that I am, I could imagine that. I mean, it may not be in my lifetime, but I do know that when something something goes wrong, like a hurricane or this and that, it's just amazing how people comes together. And I don't even know how I got to that.
But that's true, because if you think about it, that's what it comes down to. Like, it takes disaster sometimes for people to join hands. Yes. And it's crazy in a sad way, and you ain't gotta speak the same language.
Right, regardless
of race. Y'all just know what y'all feeling, and y'all know what y'all need to do at that time.
You're in need, so let me help you.
Right, and that's crazy though, because like you saying, the broken language is like, that is a whole nother story by itself. I mean, we have to go back and do my research on that and be educated on it before I could really get deep into it. But that alone makes so much sense to how everyone is already separated and they have their own groups and their own languages and stuff. But I like it.
I like it as well.
When we criticize Americans from a linguistic point of view, and that's not where it ends. You could talk about sort of American stereotypes that have emerged. Americans are loud, we've talked about this before, but of course that is quite specific to certain things. And, just as it would be in reverse if we were to sort of stereotype my fellow countrymen for having bad teeth because of the depiction in Austin Powers, for example, not necessarily true of all British people. We do guide a lot of our things based on stereotypes. I'm talking now, of course, about the present day, having talked about the 18th century, but in between that, the relationship between the United States, or at least the political relationship between the United States and Great Britain, has changed, and specifically in and around World War II, when we sort of forged the aforementioned special relationship. You could still find quotes such as this, which was actually not by Winston Churchill. It's often said that Winston Churchill said it. He did not. There's no evidence for it. But the quote came out of somewhere. Somebody invented it. And so I think it's kind of a never-ending thing. But the big question is, why? Why do we bash Americans? We don't do this to people from other predominantly English-speaking countries like Australia or Canada. So we have to look at a couple of things. Firstly, America is a big dog in the world. It's the biggest dog, perhaps, in the world. Has been since World War II. We're very familiar with that idea. So in the present day, if we're ignoring history, as some are wont to do, are we simply looking at how America is a big dog and applying envy to that? Let's not forget, Britain also thinks of itself as sort of the greatest country in the world. It just uses different terminology. It's very
but at the end of the day, it's like not everyone wakes up in the morning with that mindset as they're walking to work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How I look at it personally is that each country is like a pool. You have your deep end and you have your shallow.
Mm-hmm.
So the deeper you go in, the more confusing it gets, because if you don't know how to swim, you will drown.
Right.
So if you can stand in shallow waters and, learn how to maneuver around people, then I feel like you have a good adjustment among people, good conversation, happiness, this and that. But the moment you start to go into the deep end, where people are that way and they be like, we are the greatest or we are the best. And you don't have to be the deep end to be like that, but you would possibly drown because you don't know how to maneuver around those type of waters.
Right.
So.
Exactly. And I another point to what you just said is the average American don't think what am I trying to say? The average American just go on about their day with all of their own little successes, their own little problems, and I feel like we get stereotyped a lot because of what our politicians do
What
and
they
say.
do. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But our politicians are not the average American.
No.
At all. They don't have our same struggles. They don't have our same worries and, day-to-day life. So, that's why I feel like that stereotype, it's like, it's crazy because people are commenting, they'll say things and then I'll say, well, we didn't say we were the freest country. And then I was like, oh, no, not you guys. It's just what y'all politicians say. And we're like, okay.
Yeah.
Because it's like, because it's our channel, we're thinking you talking to us, but you're not talking to us. So it's kind of like.
But you gotta think about it. They see the bigger picture.
They do.
So they see the politicians more so than the individuals.
Right.
So they're gonna come back with what the politicians feed them and bring it to our channel.
The everyday
American. It's kind of made my
It
eye
is.
jump there.
And it's like, that's why I do appreciate our supporters from the other countries because they see us, the United States, in a different light than we do.
Yeah.
Because
true.
again, I said this analogy before, like a dog will poop and lay next to their poop and don't even smell it. When you're next to something that's going on, it's not affecting you.
Right.
It'll affect the owner, right? The owner of the dog, but it's not going to affect you. So, like a lot of the things, healthcare is a big topic for us. And because a lot of people were saying, I love that we have our NHS healthcare and all of that. And we're like, but we had insurance for that $58,000 bill.
Yeah.
So we're like, insurance took care of it. We didn't have to worry about it. And y'all are saying, but I don't even have to buy an insurance plan. So it's like, we're comfortable with having our own insurance, but they're like, but I don't have to buy it.
Right.
It's like, everything has just been eye-opening, enlightening. Again, it's a lot of information that we have been taking in.
A lot of teaching moments.
Yes.
Proud of what it's achieved, and rightfully so. I mean, we gave a lot to the world of music. We've given a lot to the world of technology, to the world of sport, etc., etc. And so when another country comes along and does all these things sort of bigger and grander and is itself extremely proud of its efforts, perhaps we look at that with a tinge of envy. I'd be lying if I said we
I understand.
didn't. And at the same time, there is respect. I think there is respect back in England for the United States. It's a weird sort of back and forth, a Jekyll and Hyde personality that we have towards America. But some other things, through television and through media, we are granted, or rather given, an idea of what Americans are like. So we'll more than occasionally see news stories like this one. So when we see news reports like this, which I should say are very
Another one of our supporters, I forgot the beginning of his comment, but he said, I know all of this because of your politicians and your reality TV.
This is what they're getting in the news?
Yeah.
A Florida man was arrested because he repeatedly lied on his wife. What the... I think he was trying to get away from him.
And that's in the last video.
I think he was trying to get away from it. It was more than...
Yes.
Not no beer, bro. Come on.
The last video, they were like, the United States look at Florida the way the Europeans look at Americans. It's situations like this that y'all see. Y'all run across and y'all like, all Americans are like this. No. That's why, like, when I was saying, what's wrong with our Florida people? And it was like, let me show you what's wrong with the Florida people. Because y'all see one article, but, you know, on an average day, we can go to Florida and have a good time and not have any of this foolishness.
I say that the average, this man right here with this lie that he told, I don't know, maybe it's his truth. Who knows? I'm not going to get into this storyline because it's not even about that, but this is funny. That is too funny.
But nonetheless very eye-catching and loud news reports. We have this tendency to assume, I think, through the frequency of it, that all Americans are like this, when in fact, through my own experience, I found it to be not the case at all.
Thank you.
Most Americans I interact with, while just like everyone else in the world may have their own neuroses that are unique to themselves and things of that nature, mostly aren't committing very bizarre crimes in Florida. I think that, you know, partly when we want to talk about British attitudes toward America, you have to remember that Britain just likes to moan. I mean, we do. We're a nation of moaners. I'm not a nation, but I am a moaner by nature because of, I think, my upbringing. But I tend to reserve that for things like the weather or the food that I'm about to eat tonight. It's not usually about a group of people from a nation, because let's remember that America is such a diverse nation that how could you really pigeonhole everybody into the same category?
It's tough. Can't do it.
To that extent, it is impossible, I think, to bash Americans. You could bash a particular American for something terrible that he or she did, but to do it to a whole nation of people is very short-sighted in my view. But don't feel too bad about that, America, because we don't just reserve it for you. We do something very similar to the French, and for similar reasons as well, both linguistically based and also imperially based, historically speaking. So, you know, when I see a tweet like that I showed here at the beginning of the video, I almost wish I could encapsulate all of these thoughts into one video and reply to that tweet with said video. And now I can. I win. So that is why we/they/the British don't slash the British. It's not the Revolutionary War. That's why the British bash Americans. Thanks for watching.
Okay.
Thank you for watching.
Wow.
I love his videos. Like, his videos are always well thought out.
Yeah, I'm getting hip to him, man, because he do come with a little classic sarcasm in between his educational moments. So he's pretty cool.
Okay. So he made the comment of how we portray ourselves, well, not portray, that we are big dogs. And we do the same things that, you know, Britain and Europe does.
Yeah.
But we make it all grand.
Right, grande.
Right?
Grande, yeah.
So maybe, you know, with understanding that one comment, I understand.
I think everyone should hold themselves high.
I
Not
think
higher
so.
than thee or other people. It's just that hold yourself with a high confidence to do and be accomplished in everything that you know come across, and not in the aspect to be better than anybody.
Right, exactly.
Just to be better than yourself.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And make other people better as well as you go through.
Exactly, because I mean, that they could say that about us.
Yeah.
You know, we have had people come on the channel and say, "Oh, y'all are trying to be like so and so."
Oh yeah.
And we're like, "Who those people?" Because we don't watch other reactors. We watch one reaction channel, and that is Drew Nation. Go check them out. That's our friends on YouTube, and we keep it moving. We don't watch other YouTube channels. Well, not YouTube. We watch YouTube channels. We don't watch other reactors. And I don't like. We just mind our business, and you know, with us saying 50K, you know, there are people in the comment section trolling about that. But we are on the road to 50K. We are approximately 49.1 away.
I think we can get there.
Wait,
Like
not
really
49.
soon.
That math was so wrong.
You said 49 point what?
4.1. Okay, we are at 40.1K. So we are. We have 9.9K to go.
So you said 40.9? When
I
you said
think-
49?
I think I said 41.9, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's still numbers is numbers. It's still close to it in that way like that.
Yeah, just blame
But-
my sinuses.
Yeah, she's okay, y'all. She got a little. Hey, yo, listen, it's been raining nonstop out here in Texas, you guys, and it's weird. So
Very weird.
We
Texas.
we used to it, but for it to be in Texas, a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's raining! Oh my god!"
Yeah.
So
It's like we received enough rain for the last 6
like
months.
literally hot, and then
Yes.
it just started pouring down, flooding
flooding.
everywhere. So I guess he kind of got like it's a little bug. But yeah, man. I think it hit home. I think we are big dogs, just as you are a big dog, and you as a big dog, and you went over there. Everybody big dogs, man.
Everybody big dogs. We don't have to be a bigger dog than your big dog. We big dogs.
We can all be
Let's
stepping
lock
together.
hands, okay?
Pause.
What?
Pause.
Oh, lock pause.
That's a bad one. Pause. Pause though. I'm talking about pause.
Pause. Yeah, not pause. P-A-U-S-E, but
We can all be big
P-A-W-S.
stepping, bro, for real.
Yeah.
So yeah, over here we all positivity. We like to bring everyone in together, get a real good, like-minded conversation going on in the comment section. And yeah, just kick out anybody or check them, bro. They up in there talking about some yeehaw stuff. Like,
yeehaw.
we don't got time for that.
Yes, guys. So this channel is all about love and positivity. We are not bashing our country at all.
Right.
Get that clear, okay? But at the same time, we are grown enough to point out flaws, to point out things that we can improve on, to point out things that we can help improve on, right? Because we on the road to 50K right now, but one day we will be on the road to 1 million. Because that is the ultimate goal, the first ultimate goal. So, yeah, all love and positivity on the channel. Let's continue to show love. Let's continue to educate one another and appreciate each other's culture, because we are coming. Not going to tell y'all where, but we coming pretty soon. All right, like this video, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. We have enabled our super thanks. It is the heart with the $sign.
Check it out.
If you would like to support the channel that way, and we have our mailing address in the description box below. If you would like for us to explore anything from your culture, you okay, mama? We'll see you soon. Peace.